Hello and welcome. This is Diplomatic Ukraine. With you as always is Anna Kostyuchenko. Portugal became second motherland for many Ukrainians. About the relations of our country, we are talking today with the ambassador of Portugal to Ukraine, Her Excellency Serpa de Almeida. It's good to have you in our program, Your Excellency.
Thank you. I do also think it's very good to be here.
So, on 10th of June, your country celebrates National Day. Tell us please about the history and the meaning of this day.
Well, the meaning of this day is our national day. It's the national day where we celebrate our most important poet, Camões, who was at the end of the medieval times the most interesting poet that we had. He went outside. He was in the discoveries. He went far, far away, and in his trips he made a very important epic poem that's called Lusíadas. And that's one of the elements that we celebrate in this day on the 10th of June. We also celebrate our national day, the nationality. We are one of the oldest countries in Europe. We are almost 1,000 years old in this present form. And it's very significant also. And we also honor our diaspora. Because as we have also a very important diaspora. We have been thinking that have been calculating that we have maybe 5 million Portuguese, first, second, third generation, and so on, outside of Portugal. And we honor them also.
To what countries do they go?
Oh my God, everywhere. But I would say that mostly they are in Europe, in Brazil, in Africa, Angola and Mozambique, South Africa, and they are in the States, in Canada, in Australia.
It's practically the whole world.
Practically in the whole world. But you know, we always been a country where our people wanted to go away. So we have also communities that are almost centuries ago that went and they're still there. And in fact, we kind of honor them also in this day of the diaspora. This is long gone diaspora, but we have in India, we have in Sri Lanka, Hawaii, everywhere we are there, and you have everywhere a Portuguese presence in the world. It's a small country, everywhere.
So what do people usually do on this day? Is there any specific tradition what to do?
Yes, mostly it's the 10th of June. It's the beginning of summer. People love to go to the beach.
That's a good tradition.
That's a good tradition, but they also follow the festivities. We honor our most prominent citizens. We give them medals. There is a few celebrations. Usually the president goes to a specific place, changing every year, and they do this ceremony. We don't do big military ceremonies, not at all. We have the military days, and so we celebrate them in that period. It's National Day for Peace, for confraternization, and that's what we ask for. And for most of the Portuguese, let's go to the beach.
That's a very nice tradition.
Yes.
Your Excellency, you granted your credentials on 1st of December 2014, if I'm not mistaken. You had some expectation before you came to Ukraine. Now you have your impressions. What are your impressions now?
Well, I think that we are looking at history right at this moment. This period that we are witnessing is going to be in history books in a few years. It's now in everybody's mind. It's in every newspaper, but it's going to be in these 3 books. And it's very important for a diplomat to witness that. And for us, I know that the conditions for the Ukrainians are very bad. It's awful, and we feel as you feel. We are here. In fact, we integrate you. We are part of you, and but we also want to report as the best we can in order to help you. And that's what is one of our tasks, is to help you the best we can.
Your Excellency, how would you describe the relations of our countries during all this period, and what was the reaction of official Lisbon to the situation in Ukraine?
We are in the European Union, and we abide what the European Union decides. We stick to it strictly, because we know that we need to be together, facing together this huge problem that you have, and we all have. That's true. It's Europe. You cannot say, oh, it's not up to us. No, everybody is. And in fact, it's not only Europe, but everywhere, especially in the Euro-Atlantic zone. We look at this very carefully.
Your Excellency, in April, the representatives of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Portugal came to Ukraine. I am sure this is a significant event. So what did they do, and what were the main results of this visit?
We had the visit of the Vice Minister, and he made his longest visit to a country of all his life. He stayed here 7 days. I would say even 8, because he went away the next morning. And we did something. We tried to figure out exactly what was happening here. We didn't stick to Kiev, not at all. We were here, he was here for the first 2 days, but then we went to Rivne, to the west part. Why did we went there? Because we wanted to see how it was. We have there a big company, a Portuguese company that is working there in a rural area, and it's a big company. It was 350 employees. For them, it's very important. There's not many industries there, and we had the notion of what's being done in this area, which means more or less what we can do in this area. And it's important. We understood completely that foreign investment is important for you, as it is important for those that invest, because it's a give and take. We went also to some place where for a very long time nobody went there. We went to Mariupol.
I know. I wanted you to specify this city.
We went there because our Vice Minister wanted to go there, wanted to have the sense of what was happening, and so we decided to go, and it was very rewarding.
What did he see there?
We have been with the mayor. We talked about investments, about the conditions of life, about displaced people, about the condition of displaced people, what was the problems, of the industries there. And we also had a very broad regard to what was happening. We met the OEC people there. We met also the United Nations people there. We went to, as far as we could, Next to the Ato zone, we went to a Greek village that was bombarded a few weeks ago. We went also to that neighborhood in Mariupol that was bombarded in January. We talked to people.
What did they tell you?
What they were suffering, what happened, and how difficult life is for common people. We wanted to have this feeling, what's happening to common people that live there, and what are the problems, and that was very, very interesting and very rewarding. And we also met with NGO that deals with displaced people, and deals not around only Mariupol, but a bit further away, with those that we heard in Cherokee, the bombardments. We were there, but the whole day we could hear them, and at night also.
So what impression did it give to you?
That it's a very difficult moment, and it's a very disturbing moment because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's this sense of irreality, but at the same time people live, and people want to live the maximum as normal as possible. You wouldn't believe that Mariupol is very quiet. We were there, we have seen 4 marriages. We went to a restaurant where the discotheque on the first floor was full. Life goes on. As I wouldn't say that as nothing is happening, because everybody knows it's happening, but life has its own way to go, and people want to live, people want to be as less afraid as possible.
To distract themselves from what's happening.
Yes, but at the same time, they do, and they are afraid. And life is not easy in Mariupol. You can feel that many people are unemployed. You can see that the production of the factories is going down. You can see the harbor was almost empty of ships. And it's kind of an expectation of what's going to happen. But people want to live and want to live freely. And I have seen many Ukrainian flags. People want to live in Ukraine.
Yeah. Your Excellency, Mariupol is a port, so does it give any additional interest for investors?
Yes, because it's easy to get out with products, it's easy to bring in raw materials, and well, it's easy to, if it would be possible, you can have trains, you have roads, and it's important, it's an enormous port. I know that the Azov Sea, it's not very, the calendar of the ships cannot be that big, but still a port is a very important way to sell for outside. And we had a meeting with media, and what they were asking, it was not about the situation, it was when is coming foreign investment. We need the foreign investment. And the mayor asked, we need, and when is it possible for foreign investment to come?
What was the answer?
Well, you first have to stabilize the situation. You cannot think that someone, an investor, will come in such a stable situation. It's not possible. It would be unrealistic.
Yeah. If we're talking about prospects, what sphere could be the best for collaboration? Well, rural sphere,
yes,
agriculture.
I would say that here, actually, what is the easiest and the best way to do it is going to be, in fact, agriculture. Mm-hmm. And your government is betting on this. Why? Because it's rapid turnover. You do need investment, but you can get every year you can have this turnover. And also around this agricultural sector you have quite another many things that can be that converge to this agricultural sectors. The harbors, you can make investments in harbors, you can make investments in roads, you can make investments in logistics. There's quite, and also seeds, also any kind of fertilizers. Also you can think that put the best and the most modern ways of doing agriculture.
If we're talking about the main export products that Portugal sells, what are they?
We sell quite a lot also of first sector materials. We export a lot of cork. We export industrial manufacturers. For example, we export shoes. You can see them. Everywhere. I have seen already made in Portugal. Clothes. We export food products. Some we can find it here, but I think it's going to go up. And for wines, you find them everywhere. Portuguese wines, you find them everywhere here. And some equipment for industry, but you are best on this side. And that's more or less what we do. We export also footballers.
That's very important.
We have quite a few here. In Dynamo, in Dnipro.
We know.
So, and trainers. Yeah. The managers, there's one manager here also for the Shakhtar Donetsk youth, he's Portuguese, and so you see, it's an export for us. You know, we export, and it never happened, but since a few years ago, the football players are an export as the others. You can see that in many foreign countries. You can see that in Spain, in England, in France, and Portugal is one of those that sells more.
I can see that you're quite a fan of football.
Not at all, but I do see it exists. You cannot miss it.
Yeah. Your Excellency, there is one sphere which is important for Portugal, but you cannot export it. It's tourism.
Yes.
So tell us.
But it's an export.
Yeah.
You know. It belongs to the exports.
Oh, really?
Yes, because you sell a service to the outside. We have more or less 8%, I think it's 7% of GDP that is coming from tourism.
What are the main tourist exports? Tell us, please. The main destinations.
Wow, there's quite a few now. Everywhere in Portugal is very important to tourism. But I would say, first of all, Lisbon. If you go to Lisbon, you can see how important tourism is. Algarve, also very important. Madeira, Oporto, Açores. All of these are places where tourism goes, and it's very important. And you know, I always say that here you have the potential for good tourism. Maybe not mass tourism, but far more than it is here. And I was this weekend in Odessa, and I was looking at it, and I was saying, my God, there should be far more tourists here.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully, because it's very important, and it's easy, and you have everything that is needed, especially in summer. Yeah. You have this magnificent sun, you have beaches, you have nightclubs.
Yeah, Odessa has quite an infrastructure for
it. I even went to this Ibiza discotheque that is the most famous.
Did you like it?
Yes, very much. It's fun with these pools and next to the sea, all white.
So, if we're talking about the students who study Portuguese, what chances do they have to visit Portugal or to get more acquainted with the culture of your country here in Ukraine?
Well, we have, for example, we have summer universities, and they can go there. There is quite an exchange. In fact, there is many congresses, and we facilitate this. We give some visas for small, short-term stays, and every day we have quite a few, especially now in summertime, and well, they can go. There is these visas for students. But let's face it, they need to know Portuguese, maybe, but most certainly English, and for then it's going to be difficult. But you know, here there are quite a few people that know Portuguese. For example, all my staff, all my Ukrainian staff here, they all speak Portuguese and they have learned here.
That's very good to hear.
Yes, and also I think that it's going to be interesting for them to interrelate with the people, the Ukrainian young people that are there, that do speak Portuguese, that go to the university there. I think it's important to have this kind of exchange. I'm waiting for some young Portuguese Ukrainian young student that is finishing his master. He's coming here for a few months to be here to kind of interconnection, and I hope that with this young man we can enter more in this interrelation between students, not between universities, but between students. I think it's a niche that we have got to dig in.
I wish you luck in this sphere. Yeah. So, what cultural events can we expect in the near future from your embassy or from any embassies that collaborate together?
I want to do something showing Portuguese culture to Ukrainians. I've talked to the Minister of Youth to see what we can do, especially to youth. There are people that are coming also to see me in order to see if it's possible to bring this new way of art, and I'm very keen to try to do that. Which kind of art? Not paintings, that's very interesting, but urban art.
Like installations, something like this?
Graffiti things, and because one of the top of graffitis in the world is Portuguese. And we are thinking maybe, let's try. And I was also thinking, let's try to bring a saxophonist, a young saxophonist here that is also going on the top.
I'm sure Ukrainians will appreciate it because we like good music.
I know. I know that very much, and you like saxo.
Your Excellency, we wish you success in this activity and any other activities that you do here in Ukraine.
I hope I've been doing things, and I hope it's going to be even more quicker.
Your Excellency, let me congratulate you and all Portuguese in advance with the National Day.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for participating in our program.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure for me too. And thank you for your attention. See you next time. Bye-bye.